Good morning, everybody, and you're very welcome to this Freshers Week training session. I hope that you're having a fabulous end to the summer and you had a great experience over your summer break, and you're all raring to come back for Freshers Week and for the activities for the rest of the year, not just Freshers Week, obviously. There's a lot more to the rest of the year than that. But this event here, or this training session, is really to focus on Freshers Week, or more really the Freshers Fair, and how you and your committee can run your society stand and what you can and can't do during the week, and so on. So we'll just get going. So society activity can start back up on the 9th of September, which is when most of you will be back, I assume. And the Society's hub is actually open at the moment, so for some of the postgrad students to be able to sign up. So we don't want to exclude them. So we have the hub is open, and they've been told that they can sign up from today. And then we'll officially launch the sign up hub then in time for the 9th of September, when returning students will come back. So anyone who was a member of your society before can sign up, and anyone who didn't get around to doing it last year might be able to get involved again this year. You can run events next week. Society rooms will be back open again. Society, you can book rooms through the inquiries office or through the CSC website if you're looking to book the atrium rooms. But it's really up to you. And we understand that you're also back in lectures this week, and you're messing around with timetables and moving back to Dublin if that's something you're having to do as well. So it really is up to you and your committee to decide what works best for you for the next week. The CSC office will be open, so if you have questions or if you need any keys or anything that you're not sure about, we're located on the first floor of House 6, so just pop up and ask. Okay, so on to Freshers Week. So the Freshers Week, it will run in tandem with the Orientation Week, which is the 16th to the 20th of September. So the week is the full 5 days. So you and your society committee can run society events throughout the week. The society's hub will be open online. I'll go through that a little bit more detail in a second. So people can join up days when the fair is not on. But really the Freshers Fair has been reduced down to 3 days. Because 5 days is just quite a lot, especially now that the Freshers Fair happens within the week that you're actually at lectures. It used to be, in the past, it was the week before lectures would happen, so it was easier to run like a 5-day fair, but it was also really exhausting for everybody. So maybe the 3 days is a good one. We've done a lot of research, and we've done a lot of feedback from committees over the last 2 years, reducing it to the 3 days, and it seems to be working well. So the Freshers Fair itself will take place on Tuesday the 17th, Wednesday the 18th, and Friday the 20th of September. And freshers will be invited to come in, or not just freshers, but returning students as well, will be invited to come into Front Square on between 10 and 3 p.m. on those days. And you and your committee will be able to set up your stands from 9 a.m. Please don't worry about coming in before then. You won't be really allowed to queue, and you won't be allowed to set up. We have a container that will hold all of the tables. So when you come into Front Square and you're looking at the campanile, if you look to your right hand side, there'll be a large container there which will hold all of the tables, and you pick up your table there from 9 a.m. They're 4 foot by 2 foot tables, so you'll sign out one each for your society. The CSC amenities officer and the executive and the rest of the officers will be on the ground with a list of where societies can set up their tables, and they will guide you to where you can go. Please remain within the area that you've been allocated, depending on the day. This has all been worked out with the college health and safety officer so that we're not blocking any entrances or exits, any wheelchair access or any accessibility paths, but also if there's an emergency that ambulances and etc. can drive onto Front Square. So it's very well thought through. So please stay where you are allocated, and the amenities officer will have a list available for everybody to know exactly where you're going to be setting up for the day. So as I said, you have one table that you get from the cabin, and there'll also be 2 chairs per society available from the exam hall. So the area at the front of the exam hall where orientation is, we'll have stacks and stacks of chairs. Please try and keep it to 2 chairs per society. I know you might have more than 2 people at your stand at any time, but really in terms of fairness, we have a lot of people. So if you imagine we have 180 tables, 2 chairs per stand is already 360 chairs, and there really aren't that many chairs available, unfortunately, that we've hired in from through the college. So if you're taking an extra chair, it means that another table doesn't have one. So just be sound and look after one another and make sure that you're sharing them accordingly. Your tables are really up to you to design and figure out. You can see there the photograph we have. You can put flags, posters, and really dress them up how you want. Have your giveaways and stuff like that, and make sure that you that you enjoy it as well, which is really, really important. In terms of the setup as well, if you've been to the fair before, you'll remember that last year the gazebos were not available to us. That was a decision that was made very, very last minute because the weather was so bad. It was there was gale force winds at the time. There was even talk of the fair itself not being able to go ahead because the weather warnings were so bad. But we through negotiations with the health and safety officer and the estates and facilities in Trinity, we were able to make sure that the fair went ahead, but that gazebos weren't allowed, because if they blew over and hit somebody, then that would cause a problem, obviously. So while I'm saying gazebos will be allowed this year, it depends on the weather, and we won't know until the actual day. The gazebos aren't something supplied by the CSC. They are something that a society can buy. You don't have to have them. But if you had the money, or if your previous committee bought one and you have it available in your room or somewhere, then obviously you can take it out and bring it onto Front Square for the day to keep yourselves covered if it's necessary. Check that beforehand. So if you know from last year's committee that there is a gazebo somewhere in your society room or somewhere stored, that you just make sure it's in working order before the day itself. So if you're coming up and saying, oh, my gazebo's not, the poles are broken and stuff like that, there's really very little we can do to help you out on the day. So I'd advise you use next week to kind of check all your equipment, check your posters, check your gazebo. If you're buying a gazebo, use that time to do so. You would be using your society money to do that as well. So make sure that that's, that you're not spending a ton of money, but that, it's something that your committee it can decide on. It's not up to the CSC to decide on your gazebos. The gazebos should be no bigger than your table, so slightly bigger than your table, obviously, which is, as I said, 4 foot by 2 foot. You can, if you have society next to you, maybe you can work it out that you can maybe share a larger gazebo, but you shouldn't be taking up any more space, because, as I said, we have 180 tables and we have a limited amount of space to take up on Front Square. So the regulations, we've just finalised the regulations in terms of Freshers Week, which I will attach to this presentation and slides and send them out to everybody for you to read in your own time. But that really goes through a lot of what I'm going to be covering anyway, in terms of where you can set up, the times that you can come in and set up, the times that the fair will run, the fact that There is no possibility for you to have power cables running to your table because obviously that's a trip hazard. And it would be very, very difficult for you to get a power cable running such a distance across Front Square. So really, think about these things logically. If you have laptops that you want to use, by all means, you can use them, but you can't have them plugged in at your desk because there is no plugs. So make sure it's charged up in the morning, make sure you're prepared, make sure your smartphones are charged up. And if you need access to charging points throughout the day to give them a bit more battery, come into the CSC office in House 6 and you can plug them in there and go back out again. Freshers Halls, the out in Dartry, will be hosting a Freshers Fair, their own Freshers Fair for for freshers coming into the Dartry accommodation on the 15th of September. So an email went out a few weeks ago inviting people to contact the Secretary of Trinity Halls if you wanted to have a table there yourself. For the society, it's not guaranteed. I think they only have 80 spaces. So if you miss that email and you really would like to take part in that event, check back through the emails or contact that email account there and see if there's any tables left. Again, it would be up to you to get out there. This is not a CSC run event. Don't leave it till the Sunday, the 15th, to come in and get your tables and stuff like that, because we don't open on a Sunday or a Saturday. So the CSC office is open Monday to Friday, as would any office within the college, and access to most of the buildings does not apply to the weekends. So House 6 might be accessible at the weekends because there's a shop in there, but the other society rooms are not accessible outside of Monday to Friday. Okay. So that's pretty much everything about the fair. Oh, there's one other thing I wanted to just clarify with people. So the giveaways that you have, the things you want to give away to people at your table and to encourage them to be members of your society. That could be, Haribos, crisps, drinks, whatever stuff you've managed to either buy or get sponsored. That's all absolutely fine. Just don't bake stuff. So you can't really, not can't at all actually, just decide, oh, I'm going to bake some cookies and give them out to the freshers. I'm going to do that in my home or in my Trinity accommodation. For health and safety reasons, obviously, we need to make sure that if somebody had an allergy or if somebody, if there was any kind of contamination to the food, that it is prepared only by qualified caterers. So, by all means, go and buy individually wrapped cookies or buy whatever it is you want to give away at your stand, but you cannot bake something yourself and just and give it away at your tables, because you could really make somebody ill or poison them if it contained something that wasn't appropriate for consumption. That was food. Oh, and obviously making sure that we are all as sustainable as possible. So, try and keep the plastics to a minimum. Try and have recycled goods, items, if recyclable, sorry. Use the recycled bins around the campus. It's up to you to clear up at the end of the day, not us. And certainly not the Trinity staff. So if you're left with any items at the end of the day, there will be green bins and regular bins, etc. And there's glass bins also behind the GMB. So make sure you deal with anything you have accumulated appropriately. And at the end of the week, that you get rid of anything that you are not going to keep or that might perish. The last thing we want, and it happens all the time, so is that stuff is stored in your society room. And then as the weeks go by, there's a stench and you realize, oh, actually, there's some moldy X, Y, and Z that's being kept in the room. So don't keep anything past the week that you don't absolutely need. Store everything away properly for the following year so that you're not, so that the next year's committee has access to it. And obviously, the stuff you're going to be using throughout the year, store that in your room or speak to the CSC amenities officer if you have nowhere to store it. Okay, So that's pretty much the week. I will send out the regulations, as I said, and if other stuff comes up, we will communicate it to you. But really turn up, have your stuff ready to go, and have a word with your committee well ahead of time to set up a schedule so that you are sharing the responsibility for the week. I know some of you have very, very small committees, and some societies may have had people drop out over the summer. That is understandable. And it's common as well. So, but the last thing we want is for one or two people to feel like they need to be out there, and organizing everything, sitting out on the front square from 10 till 3 for 3 days in a row. If that's not possible, really don't beat yourself up over it. You can only do what you can. So if you need to, close up your table early or leave it unmanned for a while and get people, leave posters on it saying, if you want to sign up, this is our QR code or something like that. Then I would advise that so that you're not running yourself ragged in the first week. But really, it's up to the whole committee to run the stands, not just one or two of you. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So the Society's Hub is where any new society member will sign up. It changes every year. I know there's a couple of societies who it's slightly different for because you have longer memberships, but really, really they're very, very limited amount of societies that do that. Most societies have annual membership. So when somebody arrives onto Front Square during Freshers Week, or indeed throughout the year, if they think, oh, I should have joined the Chess Society and they didn't, they can go back onto the Society's Hub and join you at a later date. So they will come in. Hopefully they would already have registered with the TCD orientation in the orientation fair and have their TCD email address. So encourage, if somebody comes to the table and they haven't done that yet, maybe suggest that they might come back once they've done their orientation, once they've actually registered as a student and have their student card. If that's not possible, just tell them, listen, you can sign up once you've done that. If they really want to sign up, they will sign up. So when somebody signs up to the hub, they'll set up an account. They'll see all of the different 126, I think it is now, societies. They'll click into your society. They'll see all of the details there, and they'll see, whatever it is, €3-4 membership. They'll click into that and they'll give their payment information. Once they've done that and supplied the email address, that email address is then from the Society Hub into a Google Doc on your TCD, your CSC TCD email address. So every society has a csc.tcd email address. I hope you all have access to it at this point. I think, most of you do, but if you don't, reach out to me and I can reset the password from last year's if you're still having problems accessing it. But all of your membership data is stored on that G drive in order to comply with data protection regulations. So that membership list is personal information of students. So it cannot be shared outside of the TCD domain. So what that means is, okay, I'm the secretary of a society, so I want to have access to that list as well. You can, but you have to log into it through the csc.tcd email account, because you personally cannot hold personal information of students. And the society can as an organization, but an individual can't. So it is up to you then to use that mailing list, to contact your members, or to use, for checking membership as people come to your events. So you'll be able to have that document on your laptop to kind of check your membership as people are coming to your events. But more importantly, you will upload that membership list to your mail management system, which is called My Emma, not me, but My Emma. I think it means electronic mail management assistant or something like that. So I'm the human version. Mail management system is where you would send out your newsletters. So again, I would have gone through this at the handover training at the end of the year if you were at it, but also in an email that went out recently. So side note, please read the emails that we've been sending out over the last month. That has a lot of information in it. So the MyEmma mail management system, as I said, is where you send out your emails to all of your members. They are called your audience in there, just to clarify. So when you go into MyEmma, you log on with your TCD, your csc.tcd.ie email address, reset that password if you don't know what it is. You log on to your society email account. You'll see there that the you have your audience. You go into your audience and you set up a new group. So society members 24, 25, and then there's an option below to upload or import, I think it's called, your lists. So what you would do in that case is you have your Google Doc with your Excel. It's an Excel document. You would download it to your own desktop and then upload it to the mail management system, to the audience, and it will automatically then store your audience for this year. Obviously, then delete the downloaded file from your personal computer so that you're not storing society members' private data on your laptop yourself. And the most important thing I'm going to say about that is the two things don't communicate with one another at the moment. So that is you need to manually add anyone that comes in after that. So say on Friday, you import all of the members that signed up this week. If somebody comes in and signs up next week, sorry, my brain is already in Freshers Week. So but you know what I mean. If somebody signs up during Freshers Week, and you upload their membership, but then somebody else signs up 2 weeks' time, you need to keep an eye on the Excel document and manually add them into your mailing list so that you are keeping that up to date. Now we'll go through a lot more on the MyEmma system at the CSC training on the 28th of September, which you will all be attending, and we'll go through grant applications but really it sounds complicated, but it really is a simple system, and I would really advise, rather than trying to figure it out yourself if you're not the most tech person in the world, they have tons of resources and videos on MyEmma. So if you just go into the MyEmma main website and look up the resources, it'll really give you information on how to do everything. So mess around with it, see what templates work for you, and you can upload your logos and send out your weekly or bi-weekly or whatever it is you decide to do, newsletters to and welcoming emails to your members. As I said, all of this is done digitally, so make sure your smartphones, laptops, etc. are charged up. And in the case, doesn't happen very often, but in the case that somebody doesn't have access to a smartphone or a debit card, credit card, to be able to join your society using that, we absolutely don't want you saying, oh, no, you can't, because you don't have a debit card. We want to make sure that we're including everybody in this. But if somebody wants to pay by money, it does make things a little bit more complicated. But what I'd advise that you do, if you're getting people coming to you, a lot of people coming to you asking for this option, is that you have maybe a cash box at your desk, and that you add their name into the store it separately yourself, so that you can add them into the mailing list. Don't write it down on a piece of paper at your table. These things get lost, it rains and they get soggy, and you lose people's email addresses very, very easily. It's also not very good in terms of GDPR and the data protection, to have people's names and email addresses written down on pieces of paper floating around. So try and add them in to your drive manually. As somebody signs up, take their €4 cash, put it into your box, your cash box, or store it safely somewhere, and then you'll have to transfer it into your bank account, because we do need to see a lodgement of all society money. This is where it becomes problematic, because you can't be going to the bank with €8 of membership money. They just won't lodge the money. So if you have people coming looking for cash, maybe just for cash membership, just come into the CSC office and we'll try and figure out a way of accommodating them. But really try and encourage people to do it through the online system. It's just it's not us that's saying you need to only take digital. The banks make it really, really hard to lodge cash, even if it's large sums. And also because of, the European legislation around data protection, we need to make sure that we are minding people's information. Okay. So that is that part. If I think of anything else, I will come back to it. So around Freshers Week and the Freshers Fair, so all the merch that I spoke about earlier on, the CSC, there is no CSC grant for that. The grants open up next month, and the grants will be, for your activities for those members that you sign up throughout through the week, for the year ahead. However, you can use the money that's already in your bank account that has possibly accumulated over the last couple of years. If you don't have access to your bank account, you need to do that ASAP. So speak to your society treasurer and the chairperson. And if that's you and you still don't know how to access your bank account, or you haven't done it yet, and you don't know what's in your bank account, your society bank account, contact the treasurer at csc.tcd.ie, and Henry will be able to advise you. Noelle is the person you need to speak to as well if you are getting set up on the bank to be able to make payments, etc. But if it comes down to it and you're going to use your own money to buy anything for Freshers Week, that's kind of how it's normally done at this part of the year. Obviously, once you're set up, you don't normally do this. You use your society bank account. But say I'm involved in one of the societies, and I think, okay, I'm going to go and buy some bags of sweets and things like that to hand out. What I would do was I would go to the shop, pay with my own money, but I hold on to the receipt. And this is the really, really important part, because if I don't have a receipt, I'm not getting that money. I can't get that money back from the society. So you buy the stuff, you hang on to that receipt. You can take a picture of it when you're in the shop or outside the shop so that you have a record of it, and you send it to your treasurer. Your society treasurer can then reimburse you for the money that you've spent on Freshers Week items. Okay. But again, hold on the receipt. And that's not just for Freshers Week. If you buy anything for the society all year round without a receipt for that, you won't be able to get reimbursed for the money that you've spent on behalf of your society. So hang on to that money, hang on to that receipt, to get your money back. In terms of other items you might have to give out, so a lot of people will have sponsorship deals, and 20% off in restaurants, or you might have somebody sponsor give you loads of pens or whatever it is for your stand. Again, this is completely up to you. All of the fair stuff is up to you to kind of go out there and search for something that your membership is really going to benefit from. So there's plenty of opportunities around. So contact companies that share your values, or share the type of things that you do. So if you're, I'm going to use the Knitting Society here, but the Knitting Society, if you're in Knitting Society, contact some knitting companies and see if they want to get involved with your society for this year. And it's a great opportunity for them to promote to an audience that they otherwise cannot get access to. The only thing you can't do is, give out alcohol, obviously, or cigarettes or gambling products or anything like that. So just be really, really careful that what you're giving out to your members is relevant to, if I'm into knitting, I'm going to want that, 10% off the knitting shop down the road. But I might not necessarily want, I can't think of what else they might not want. I might not want, USBs or something like that from a tech company, for example. So think of your audience, think of your unique membership and what they might like. During the summer, we were asked a few questions around this stuff. So we produced some fundraising guidelines. Again, they were sent out, I think, at the start of August. So you'll see in your society email accounts that those guidelines were circulated. I will attach them to this presentation as well, and send this out before this weekend, which is the week before you all return. So we have copies of everything. The other thing I'm going to just run through briefly here is membership cards. So membership cards is something that used to happen many, many, many years ago, way before COVID. But for some reason, some societies still kind of ask me every year, oh, how do we get our membership cards printed? It's really a hangover from quite a number of years ago. The CSC executive made a decision, I think it might have been like 2018, 2019. So we're talking a while ago. That, in order to be sustainable, the CSE was no longer going to fund the paper and plastic membership cards that were given out during Freshers Week every year by all of the societies. There was a massive amount of waste. These paper and the types of plastic and paper that were being used were not sustainable. They're not green. So that was something that the executive decided that we would no longer be paying for. So, but that doesn't mean you can't. So if your society committee is like, oh, I think our members are really, really, really going to want a membership card. Number one, are they? It's just another card in your wallet. I don't know that it really does any good. But it's totally up to you, but you have to pay for it. So have a look around, find how much it is for these things to be printed, and measure that up with the amount of money that you have, and decide through your CSA, so your society treasurer, is this the best use of society funds? I would suggest, if you really, really, really want to do membership cards, that you do a digital version. It's free. You can set up a Canva free account, or if you have somebody on your committee who's really good at design, your PRO or your social media officer can come up with a really cool digital membership card for your members that can be updated throughout the year, depending on different sponsorship deals or different events that you have coming up. You would save that as a PDF or whatever other format is good these days, and then you just send it to your members as an attachment. They save it to their wallet, and then they have a digital version of your membership card. So that's an option if you really feel like membership cards are something you are dying to do this year. Yeah. Okay, so society rooms I touched upon briefly there. So not every society has a society room, but the ones that have are usually located in House 6, the Atrium and Goldsmith Hall. All societies share rooms with one another. Nobody has their own room. We have far too many societies and far too little space for that. It's up to you to manage these rooms, and it's up to you to share the rooms like good flatmates. Think of it like that. So if you're sharing your society room with 2 other societies, I'd suggest that you maybe reach out to those societies and figure out a plan on how you're going to use it this year. Okay, you're 12 to 1 every other day. I want to have a coffee hour, so the other societies can kind of work around that as well, and keep your room tidy, keep it in good function. It is for you to use on your committee, to use throughout the year, and it really is a privilege to have these rooms. So we want to make sure that they're kept nice and tidy, and they're equipped for your committees to be able to run or operate from. The amenities officer, who's Connor this year, is the person you need to speak to about anything related to your room. So if you need stuff this year, if there's stuff in your room that you want to get rid of, bin it. If there are big things that you really, really can't get rid of yourself, Connor can help you. We'll have to get somebody from the estates and facilities to move things. I'm talking couches, filing cabinets, stuff like that. And if you need a new couch or filing cabinet, Connor is the person to speak to as well. So have a look at your room. Call in next week if, as I said, if you need to. If every society who has a room can have 2 keys per committee. Some of you have more than that by special request, but generally it's 2 keys per committee, and they are given out on a deposit basis. So if you have any confusion around that, or if you don't know where that key went from last year, etc., or you didn't get the key handed over at your AGM from the committee from last year, you need to contact me, Emma, at csc.tcd.ie. I need to change the system, change the database, so that the person who had the key last year loses their deposit, and you take over this year with a €30 cash deposit, and then which you get back at the end of the year. Reach out to me if there's any key related issues, Connor, if there's any room related issues. So check your rooms and make sure they're up and running then ahead of Freshers Week, so that you just have a good clear start to it. You can book space on campus, as I said already. So all of the details have been sent out in a previous email, but it's also available on the CSC website. How to book a room. So you can book the rooms 2, 3, and 4 in the atrium, are accessible rooms. They host about 25 people. They've all been done up over the summer, which I can't wait to have a look at. So they're much, much nicer than they were last year. So we've been working hard to get that up and running for you for next week, and definitely for Freshers Week. Those rooms, as I said, are bookable online through your CSC email account. The Eliz Room and the 191, which is a studio space for arts societies down in Pierce Street, are bookable through me at the moment. So email me, emma@csc.tcd.ie, if you wanted to book the Eliz Room, which is the boardroom in House 6, or if you were an art society and you wanted to find how to book the studio space. Most of the societies in that room know already how to do that. So all of the other rooms are booked to the TCD Inquiries Office. So all the lecture halls, the Regent House, room 50, the atrium, main space, any outdoor areas, etc., are booked through TCD Inquiries, and you need to give them at least 10 days notice to be able to do that. The GMB is a different system again, so you need to contact the societies within the GMB to book it, and then Inquiries Office. This is all on the CSC website, all sent out in an email to you recently. So if you're not catching it today, just have a look on our website. So if you're having what's called an kind of non-routine event or a reception throughout the year or during Freshers Week, you need to get permission from the junior dean. So this means that anything that is out of the ordinary, it's not a meeting, it's not a workshop, it's not something that your society is set up to do, such as, a cards event or tournament weekly. You need to have permission from the junior dean, and anything that has alcohol at it, you need to have permission from the junior dean. So you would book the room, then you go onto the junior dean's website. Again, this is all on our website, and you would put in your request from the junior dean. The junior dean will then come back to you and say, yep, that's absolutely fine to go ahead, or no, actually you need to change X, Y, and Z. So that's anything that's kind of out of the ordinary for society. Any large events, guest speakers or balls or anything, a concert or anything like that. And to reiterate, have a look at the TCD alcohol policy as well, which is available on our website and on the TCD website, and make sure that all of your events fall within the TCD alcohol policy. If you're having a large kind of event, you will be asked to fill in an event management plan. So say for Freshers Week, I had to fill in an event management plan to be able to hold the fair. And in order to do this as well, all of the CSC executive and officers had to do steward training. You'll be asked to do the same if you're running a large event. So say you're the orchestra and you're running one of your concerts in the exam hall, you have to do this steward training in order to complete an EMP or an event management plan. The event management plan, the steward training is available on to watch in your own time. And then there's a follow-up questionnaire. That link there, obviously you're not going to be able to find that, but I'll make sure that the link is live in the email that goes out to everybody. Again, it's also in an email that was sent out to everybody recently, but just to make sure that you're getting all of the information, I'll send it out again. And then the Inquiries Office will know, okay, the orchestra have done their steward training, so we'll be able to progress their request for their exam hall booking, So that's a new one for this year. The TrinitySocieties.ie website is really the central place for you guys to be able to find all of the information on book any rooms, book a Zoom account if you need to, find out when the grant applications are open, and when they are, the link there to the grant applications website will be there as well. We will be updating it over the next week to make sure that these videos any other information and any other upcoming deadlines, etc., are shared on the Trinity Society's website. So, get into the habit of maybe checking that as much as possible. The information you might need might be there rather than emailing us or calling into the office. So we'll try and make sure that this society's, the Trinity Societies.ie website is up to date as much as possible. Every society has a profile on there, by the way, and if it's not up to date, we will be contacting you all soon to be able to update that. But at the moment, yeah, some societies are definitely missing. Some are in categories that they're not. They prefer to be in different categories. So, but bear with us. We are in the process of putting together a document that you can all contact. That you'll all be able to update and have your information in there correct over the next week or two. Okay. Make sure you have access to that email account that I mentioned. As I said, if there's a problem accessing it, so it could be that it's still set up on the last year's chair or secretary's device. So I'll be able to go into the main admin Gmail account and remove the old device so that you, as the new committee, can use that your society email address. It's just a Gmail address. So if you ever needing to access it, just go into Gmail and type in the username and password. Mail management system, as I said, I've gone through that. One thing that's really, really important that you do before you upload your new members for this year is that you archive last year's mailing list. So as I said, you can only store somebody's information for the period of their membership. This was in an email sent out a few weeks ago, but not many of you have done it yet. You need to go into your audience. You need to archive the audience from last year before you upload any membership from this year. Otherwise, they get all muddled and you'll have a mix of last year's and this year's members in your audience. You archive it, but only I can delete it as the master account holder. So please let me know so that I can do the last step, which would be to delete the remaining email accounts from the system. So check back through the previous emails on more information on how to do that, and make sure that you do that before people start uploading new members. Now, the Society Training Week this week has been a big success. Thank you all for everyone who turned up, and apologies for any errors on Monday that we had a problem with the capacity of the Zoom account that I had set it up with. That was absolutely my fault, and we won't be holding, I know who had registered for that, and I'll assume that you would have attended. So in terms of attendance, you are included. All of the other trainings have happened. And we'll be sending out all of the links, all of the videos in an email in the next day or two, so that you can watch it again, watch it throughout the year if anything becomes unclear at any point, or if you missed the trainings, you weren't able to attend, that you can have a look at them in your own time. I think that's everything that I wanted to go through today. The CSC officers are back on campus now as well. So if you have a query, you need to speak to Jack, who's the secretary. So if, say, it's something to do with your secretary's report, which should be already in from last year, the secretary's reports. If you are looking to amend your constitution, if you're looking to host an EGM, for example, because your PRO maybe has decided throughout the year that actually they're not going to be able to fulfill that role, and you have any dropouts from your committee, you'll have to run an EGM to elect a full committee at some point through, after Freshers Week or during Freshers Week to do that. So Jack will be able to advise secretary at csc.tcd.ie, treasurer, so Henry, can help you out with anything to do with the grant, or if you have queries around money or finances, reach out to Henry. And the amenities officer, as I said, is Connor. He'll be helping you out during Freshers Week, but also if you have any queries around your room or getting new things for your room, etc. And then the CSC chairperson, if you have overall queries or you're unsure who you need to speak to, you can email Faith on chair@csc.tcd.ie. All their details, all their contact information is on the CSC website. As I said, I'm Emma, I'm staff in the CSC, so if you wanted to contact me as well, you can for any general questions. And then Noelle is our accounts administrator. So if you had payments that you needed to make or anything to do with getting onto the bank account or anything like that, she'll be able to help you out with that. We'll have full training, which is a half day, 10 to 3 on the 28th of September. It's an in-person training day, and it really, really is vital that you, as many committee members as possible, come to that. It'll get you ready for being able to fill in your grant application and for operating throughout the rest of the year. More information on that will be sent after Freshers Week. So, you know, one thing at a time, we'll make sure that we get that information to you in good time. And have a good week. Yeah, really enjoy it and make the most of the experience. You know, if things are getting stressful, reach out to the officers or to the Trinity counselling service have facilities there as well. But really, this shouldn't be stressful. This should be really enjoyable. But if you share the load, share the responsibilities throughout your committee, that shouldn't be a stressful event. Most of the time people come back at the end and they've just really enjoyed it. So do enjoy it and take care, and we will see you all soon.